Hi guys, welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week I bring you a guest who shares a life-changing event, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Now, as of the last episode, you guys know that I announced that I was 9 weeks pregnant. Obviously, by the time this airs, we are pushing this to wait until I announce it publicly. So I will be a bit further along, well out of the first trimester. And because of that, I am really excited to introduce our next special guest. You guys have asked me to bring on a home birth midwife, doula, and boy, do I have a treat for you today. We have a home birth midwife with us today named Bekah DuChateau.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So we met at a Groansy event.
Yes.
Which was like, they make a bunch of baby products and stuff. And so you were one of the guest speakers and I was the host. And I was so fascinated with your job. And I actually don't know. I interviewed doulas with my first.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever met a midwife.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people haven't.
So tell me, let's start with your life-changing event and how that kind of worked into becoming a midwife.
Yeah. Well, a little bit of backstory. I grew up in China. I grew up overseas.
Okay.
So, coming out of high school, I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And I decided to become a midwife. Did all of my training in the Philippines. So that's pretty much my whole life overseas.
Great.
And then my big life event was trying to figure out how to transition both my life and my career into the US as an American person.
Right.
And trying to...
Why were you over in China? Was it Army brat? What was...
That? Well, my dad was a Marine for a while, then we went to China. He retired and became a missionary. So that's why I went to
great.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
okay.
all kinds of stuff going on there.
Got it.
And then, so coming here and transitioning, the culture shock and also figuring out how does midwifery work in the US versus, birth is birth. It's all, the same everywhere, but also there's a lot of differences. So learning how to be a human and a midwife in the US was a huge change.
Yeah, I was going to say, what would you say is the biggest difference between, because I've been watching a lot of, especially now that we have social media, one of the good things is we can see how other cultures do things.
Yeah.
And a lot of Asian cultures I've noticed are like, oh, that 40 days after you have a baby, they're so much rest. They're so sacred.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost spiritual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they really take care of mom and baby.
Right. Everyone is really focused on that postpartum period.
Right. And so that's how it is in China and the Philippines.
In China, absolutely. In the Philippines, not quite as much.
Right.
I noticed the big difference in coming here was that the Philippines versus here, birth out of the hospital was very normal there. So, people would just come to the clinic and have their baby and it was just normal and expected. And so it wasn't this big, unusual thing that families were scared of. It was like the families would just come with them and bring their food and, have a party and have their baby and then go home on their motorcycle.
Yeah.
Versus,
so wild.
I know. Sounds really painful.
Yeah, I know.
Versus here, it's like you were saying, you've never met a midwife. It's just a lot less common.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a million questions. So you started doing that. You're very young.
I am.
Right? For midwifery. How do you say it? Midwifery?
Midwifery. Yeah.
Midwifery. So how does that, because I know we talked about it when you were sharing the funniest lesson. How does mommy issues come into play?
So it's interesting. It's something I never really knew about myself until probably the last couple of years and working with all of these, more seasoned older midwives and realizing that a lot of the time I'm just kind of looking over my shoulder, did she see me do that? Is she proud of me?
Is she proud of me? I love it.
Did she like that?
I love it.
It's very silly, but yeah, I'm just constantly learning things about myself and that was one of them.
How many years have you been doing it?
I graduated 2016, so I'm coming up on 10 years.
Amazing.
I graduated and then I got licensed a couple years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I think we're going to get right into the questions.
Great.
Because
ready for it.
The followers and the viewers have sent, I think I had to whittle it down from 48 questions. Some of them were overlapped, so that was good.
I love it.
Okay, so let's just start with this. Oh, I just wanted to say this about the maternal mortality rate. So I was doing some research.
Mm-hmm.
And in the US, as far as one of the industrialized wealthy countries, we are absolutely the worst.
Yes.
Which is insane.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. And so Now, just so you guys know, the definition of maternal mortality includes the death of the mother during pregnancy, childbirth, or 42 days later, sometimes up to a year if it's like a direct link to the pregnancy.
Right.
U.S. rates have increased to 12,000 deaths in 2021, which is significantly higher than any other high-income nations. And right now it's like 18.6 deaths per 100,000. So I want you guys to think about this. So in the US, it's 18 deaths per 100,000. In Norway or New Zealand, it's 0 to 1. Why do you think that there's such a discrepancy?
In those countries, midwives are a lot more common. Unless you have a high-risk pregnancy, you're going to see a midwife for your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And the tricky thing about seeing an OB for your care, and no shade on OBs, I know so many great OBs, and they're there for a reason.
Right.
But the tricky thing about seeing an OB for a low-risk pregnancy is that they specialize in, they're surgeons, and they specialize in high risk and how to treat these high-risk problems. So a lot of times pregnancy and birth can be viewed as a problem instead of viewed as a very natural event, the most natural event in our lives.
Right.
And when it's viewed that way, we're kind of on high alert for like, oh, what if there's a problem? What if there's a problem? So we're treating it that way. And that can often lead to actually causing problems. So,
right.
And an example of that is, labor is, your pregnancy has gone on to 41 weeks and the doctor's like, oh no, well, we have risks of this and this and this, so let's induce you right now.
This is my story. This is my story. Yeah.
Your body's not ready to go into labor at that point. You needed a little more time to cook. Baby needed a little more time to cook. So you start an induction, you're on Pitocin. The baby's heart rate is going up because it's going down because the baby doesn't like the Pitocin. It's not responding well. So they're like, okay, let's chill things down. Let's start an epidural. And then that is causing issues as well. That slows things down. We got to up the Pitocin. And then we're just kind of like fighting this battle. And then it's like, baby's really not handling this well. Your body is getting exhausted. Your blood pressure is going up. Let's go to a C-section. And a C-section is a lot riskier than a vaginal birth. So we're just kind of like, it's, the cascade of interventions where we're just kind of causing these issues where if, in midwifery care, most of the time we're going to look at that and be like, let's just wait for labor to start.
Right.
And then labor starts on its own and we don't have all those problems.
It's so funny. I was talking to my sister-in-law this past week during Christmas, and we were talking, and she had 2 inductions and they were great and she had no issues. And it makes me tense up when I hear it, because she was, I think, scheduled both times and they were both vaginal. But I was like, and I do know that some people have that situation, but for me, I remember going in, my appointment was at 10 a.m. It was just I was 5 days late or 5 days past due. And I was already dilated to a 3.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Leave me alone.
Yes.
And I look back on that and they did the stress test. And I remember the doctor walking in and she pulls out, because it's, like a thing, like a long chart. And it's like kind of like an EKG or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's looking at it and she goes, there's this little dip, and she didn't really show it to me. And I should have said, let's do the 20-minute stress test again. I've got all day.
Right.
That's what I should have said. And instead of that,
2020.
at that point, I'm thinking, oh, there's something wrong with the baby's heartbeat. So now let's go ahead. But then they let me go home, pack my bag, come back. I stalled as long as I could. I was mopping the floor. I was curling my hair. I was putting makeup on. And my girlfriend at the time, who I called I called her my birth coach, and she's not a birth coach. And she was like, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And I just remember being like, I was born 2 weeks late.
Yeah. I
think there's a genetic component there.
It's pretty normal.
I'm also like, just kind of leave me alone.
Yeah.
My mom ended up having to be induced in a C-section.
Yeah.
Granted, I was supposed to be due January 16th, I think, and I was due, and I came out February 1st, and I was 9 pounds, 15 ounces. So I'm sure at some point I had to come out. But, for that, I was just like, and then everything like you just said. So then they induced. And then I remember I went from 3.5. By the way, by the time they checked me into the ER, I was 3.5. So I'm like, I'd gained half.
Your body's working. Your body's doing what it needs to do. And also, something that really drives me crazy is when they say there's a problem here and we need to fix it, but you can go home and pack. So it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
So maybe you could just let me be.
And I had watched the documentary, what is it? The Business of Giving Birth?
The Business of Being Born.
Business of Being Born. And they talk about how, they get paid more for cesareans and they get like everything. And so I knew that, but you are so vulnerable when you're at that stage. 100%. And so if you don't have a doula or you don't have a midwife or you don't have somebody in your corner, then you just
it almost feels
yes.
selfish to say no because it's like, then I'm hurting my baby.
Yeah. I think if this goes south, then it's because I made this wrong call. Right.
Totally.
And then everything that could go wrong went wrong. I think I had like a uterine rupture. I had the second degree tear, which was fine. But like they had to stitch me manually. There was a postpartum hemorrhage. Then there was a retained placenta. So I had to have a DNC 5 weeks later.
Oh, 5 weeks later.
5 weeks. And I was calling. My viewers have heard this before, but I was calling pretty consistently and saying, hey, I'm still wearing diapers throughout the whole day. And
not normal.
And it was a 4-week process. And the nurse, not even the nurse, the receptionist was like, well, this is your first child.
That has nothing to do with it.
And I'm like, what? So I went in and I made a scene in the lobby as I'm pushing my infant in a stroller. And I made a scene and I was like, somebody see me now or I'm going to, and as soon as the sonographer put it on because I don't even think it was a vaginal one. I remember, but she was doing the sonogram and she goes, excuse me real quick, and ran out, got the doctor. He looked and he goes, we have to prep you for emergency surgery because you have a retained placenta. 5.5 weeks later, which normally they catch them in like 24 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you catch those?
Well, we're monitoring moms. So all my clients have my cell phone number, and they're on emergency bypass. So
right.
No matter what time of day, if something, I let them know these are the signs that you look out for. If you're having this much bleeding, it's okay. If you're having this much, it's not okay. Call me. And so, if they reach out and they're concerned, I'm coming over and I'm going to check it out. And if everything's fine, cool, I'll go back to bed. But yeah, if you're having that much bleeding, then someone needs to come and check it out. Yeah. And, usually, so, a retained placenta is almost always caught at birth, because when the placenta is born, you inspect it very carefully to make sure there's nothing missing.
Right.
So if there's a big chunk out of it, the chunk is inside.
It's still in there.
It's still in there. It's going to cause
problem.
So
that can happen. I didn't know if that was caused mostly because of the induction, and then they had to use a vacuum. So I was like, that could all be connected, but it happens with you as well.
It could happen. Yeah. Okay. It could happen to anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. There's things that make it more at a higher risk for that happening, but it can just also happen.
Right. So I'm going to have a second baby. I'm also 43. I'll be 44 when I deliver. So advanced maternal age is what they're calling it now, not geriatric. They're calling it advanced maternal, which is not good either. I was going to ask you 2 things. What's the oldest and youngest you've delivered for? And then what would you recommend? Have you ever recommended a C-section for somebody who had a really traumatic previous birth?
Totally. Okay. So oldest, I believe, was between 46 and 48.
Okay.
And my youngest, I think she was 18.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet baby girl.
I know.
Sweet baby girl.
She did so great. Both of them did great.
Yeah.
Have I ever recommended a C-section? When there's an emergency, absolutely.
Yeah.
Off the bat, just based on someone's age, never.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got pregnant so fast. We tried for 1 month. And I was like, great. What the, right? I was like,
awesome.
I thought it was menopause. That's what I thought my symptoms were. That's not to, I know I've got family members that have struggled for years. So I, realize how grateful I am.
Totally.
But do you, given my history and a uterine rupture, would you still be okay with a vaginal delivery?
I personally would not recommend a home birth.
Right. No,
I would recommend seeing an OB who's open to vaginal birth.
Okay.
Because I absolutely think that if you're close to an OR, absolutely you should try vaginal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
That's just
okay.
my opinion.
That's a great opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to get into that's all my selfish stuff. I had to get all my selfish stuff out, and the rest is going to be everybody else. Okay. What does training include, and how long do you have to train for? And how many births have you done? So what does training include? How long and how many births do you think you've done?
Okay. So training includes all of the education side of it, which I did alongside. Some people will do their education first and then do their clinicals. I did an accelerated program where I just knocked it out. I was 19 years old. It was just, I had energy. I could just get it all done.
Amazing.
Yes. And I did it in 2.5 years.
Holy
it was just
cow.
boom, boom, boom,
What does
boom,
it
boom.
normally take if you don't do it?
I mean,
side
it
by side?
depends. So if you're working with a home birth midwife and she does a couple births a month, you have to meet your quota. So it'll take
Longer.
It'll take a lot longer because you have to do 10 observes.
Okay.
And then you have to do, gosh, how many assists? I can't remember how many
That's
assists.
okay.
You have to assist
That's
a certain
okay.
number of births, and then you have to do 25, I think, catches before you can
I love
graduate.
that you call them catches. That's
Yeah, well,
so great.
I'm not delivering the baby.
Yeah.
I've delivered a baby, and it was my own baby.
Yeah,
That's the work. I
That's-
catch the baby when it's someone else's baby.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it took me 2.5 years. So basically the place I was working, again, in the Philippines, I was doing all of my schooling on the side, kind of, the schools that I went with is one where you can just sort of do it at your own pace.
Mhm.
And then I was working night shifts. So I would do like regular 8-hour shifts at the clinic, and we would have like 3 to 6 births every shift. It was
Okay.
really cool. Got a lot of hands-on experience there.
Okay.
What was the rest of the question?
How many births total do you think you've done?
How many births? I've done around 400. I'm in the 400 somewhere.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That feels like that's so many.
I feel
each
lucky
year.
I got an early start.
Yeah. That's great. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, let's see. What happens if there's a medical emergency? Yeah, let's just answer that first.
So it depends on what the emergency is. Right. So for example, if it's an emergency like a hemorrhage, after the baby's born, after the placenta comes out and the mom is bleeding a lot, we have medications with us, the same medications that they use in the hospital. We have Pitocin, we have Cytotec, we have Methergin, we have TXA, we have IV fluids, we have all the things to attack a hemorrhage. So if that's the situation, we're going to handle it with the medications and, whatever we need to do. If it's an emergency such as blood pressure is skyrocketing, we're getting to the hospital.
Okay.
So usually the way that looks is the family will get in their car, I'll get in my car, and I'll follow them to the hospital, and I'll help them check in, and I'll stay with them.
Got it.
If it's something
that's like preeclampsia usually, right?
Usually,
okay.
Yeah. If it's something where it's imminent, so like baby's heart rate is tanking and we've tried different positions to maybe help, and the baby still is not sounding good, then we're calling 911.
Okay. Super
rare for us to need to call 911, but if it's something where baby needs immediate help or mom needs immediate help, then we call 911.
Have you had to do that?
I've had to do it a couple times at the birth center that I used to work at.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't, and there's midwives that work in a hospital, but you specifically do home births.
Correct.
Are most of yours water births? Or
I would say it's, just over half are probably
okay.
water births. Yeah.
One of the questions, because I am skipping around here, I know that's not actually on the second page. Somebody asked water births.
Mm-hmm.
Why water? Is there anything in the water? And what's the temperature of the water?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So why water? I can say from personal experience, it feels so good.
Okay, good.
It just feels so good because you're at that point in labor where there's so much pressure in your butt and you are so heavy and the contractions have been coming for usually a really long time at this point, because I usually recommend getting in the tub towards the end when you're almost ready to push out a baby. And it's just so hard, and you're getting into transition, and you're at that point of like, I can't do this anymore. Everything I was doing that was working is no longer working.
Right.
You get in the tub and it's like, oh, you just kind of float.
Is it warm?
You're weightless. It is body temperature.
Okay.
So anywhere between 98.6 to like 100 degrees.
Great.
Not over 100.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's body temperature. You just feel weightless and wonderful. And you can switch around into different positions a lot easier. Cause when you're on a bed is so, I had my baby on a bed, but you're just heavier and trying to maneuver your big old belly and your laboring self in different positions. It's a lot easier when you're in the water.
Yeah.
So the water just feels so great. It also helps relax your muscles to reduce tearing when you're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can just be in different positions.
I also think just mentally, whenever I get into a body of water, everything just kind of relaxes.
Yes, that's like an evolutionary thing. We just feel more relaxed when we're in the water.
Do you put anything in the water?
No.
Okay,
nope,
it's just
water.
Okay. And then Medical emergency, is that ever? What are your options? Oh, you already kind of went over your options in emergency. What are the responsibilities of other people in the room besides yourself, like partners, family,
Mhm.
etc.?
So we'll have, it kind of depends on it all depends on what the laboring person wants. So, a lot of moms will want their partners to be there, like squeezing their hips or, doing a massage or providing that physical support. They're usually, stronger and able to help them in that way. Um, if they have a doula there, the doula and the partner will usually kind of take turns with the massage because doing hip squeezes for hours and hours,
It's
you
exhausting.
gotta,
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't do
workout.
it. I can't do it.
It's a
I'm
workout.
like, every time I do a hip squeeze, I'm like, I'm dooming myself because once you do a hip squeeze, you can't stop because it feels so good.
Yeah,
So if I do one, I'm like, I call the partner over. I'm
Your
like, I'm
turn.
gonna teach you how to do this because I'm sure you have more chest muscles than me.
Yeah.
And this is not my job.
yeah.
So, there's going to be someone who's kind of the hands-on support. Sometimes moms will only want their partner there and nobody else. If they want more people, then, there can be someone responsible for making sure there's enough food, making sure there's drinks, making sure mom is staying hydrated.
Right. Yeah, where do you sit with the, like, no eating?
Please eat.
Right?
Yes.
I felt
how
so unnatural.
How are you gonna put in all that effort
Yeah.
and all that work on no food?
After
It's
15,
impossible.
my girlfriend labored for like 36 hours, and I'm like, and she's like, girl, I was eating. There's no way I wasn't
Yeah,
eating.
you have to. You have to if you're gonna do all that.
How do you feel about doulas?
I love doulas. I think I always encourage my clients to interview some doulas and see if they align with somebody. I have a list of ones that I recommend. Not every doula is a great doula,
Right.
but there are some really, really good ones, and they can completely change your labor experience.
Right.
Especially if you're in the hospital, you should have a good doula.
Now, what's the difference? Obviously, yours is more science-based, and theirs is support-based, like at
Right.
right?
Yeah. So a midwife is the medical side of things,
Right.
replacing an OB in the situation, and a doula is gonna mentally, physically, and emotionally support you through labor
Got
and
it.
kind of coach you through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed like 3, and one was she'd only done 4 of her, and I was like, not for me. And then but I did love her.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 just looked like they wouldn't, like, I wanted kind of a pit bull. You know what I mean? Because
They
I'm
would
like,
go to
I want
bat
to be
for you.
weak. I want somebody to be like, and neither of them had it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's such a huge thing with the doula is you need to align with them because you're going to be in your most vulnerable state.
Right.
And you need to feel like this is my safety. This is my rock.
Right.
You need to trust them.
Right.
So.
Instead, I had my mom giving speeches.
Hell
She
yeah.
was giving like Denzel Washington type Oscar speeches. It was great.
That's amazing.
She's like, you can do anything you put your mind to. And I'm like,
that's so sweet.
Okay. So the other thing, this is a quick side one, the placenta, because you deliver that after the baby. Is there a time? Is there like a time you recommend? Because I know in the hospital, they want to keep it under 30 minutes before they pull it or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know it can go up to like 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah. So around 30 minutes is the point where I'm like, all right, let's start trying different things. Okay. So we're not panicking. Sometimes the body, especially if it's a quick birth, sometimes the body is kind of shocked and the placenta just hangs on for a minute. And we're checking to make sure that, blood isn't building up in the uterus and things like that. You can kind of feel if the uterus is expanding in that way.
That's crazy. I feel on the outside or
the
inside?
Yeah,
That's
outside.
So
I'm not going up in there
if
I don't need to.
Yeah. That's so crazy. You can
but
feel
yeah,
it.
if it's about 30 minutes, then I'll say let's try to latch the baby because that's going to stimulate oxytocin, which stimulates the uterus to contract, which helps the placenta come off the wall and be delivered.
Amazing.
So that's something that we suggest. If that doesn't work, there's something called angelica. It's an herb, and that can help deliver the placenta. Usually that's all you need is a little bit of angelica under the tongue. Pretty cool.
This is all my I love this shit. This is amazing.
Right. If that doesn't work, getting into a squatting position can sometimes do it. Because sometimes the placenta, it's not, with a baby, it's easier. The momentum kind of helps push the baby out. With the placenta, it's floppy. There's nothing really behind it to kind of help. So if it gets kind of stuck in a corner, there's no momentum to push it out.
Yeah.
So if you get up into a squat, it kind of angles it better.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And
so we
then,
try that.
yeah, they like showed it to me on a platter, and they asked my friend Corey, they're like, "What does she want to keep this?" And I was like, "Get it out of here!" I was in so much pain. I was like, "Get it out of here!"
Did they not notice that like part of it was missing?
No,
I don't know.
they missed that whole part. That's so funny because I didn't know if you looked at a placenta and examined it, you could tell.
Every
That's
time,
really
yeah.
makes me mad. Do you recommend the placenta, the pills or the
encapsulation
tonics or anything like that?
I just make it an option to all my clients if they want to encapsulate. The thing is that it's not research, so we don't have hard evidence on anything, but we have anecdotal evidence. So, I tell people for some moms, they feel like this really helps prevent postpartum depression.
Right.
And every once in a while, there's a mom who feels like it caused postpartum depression.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
I'm like, if that's something that if you're concerned about having postpartum hemorrhage, maybe have it, or sorry, postpartum depression, maybe have it on hand.
Yeah.
So that, even if it's just a placebo, I don't know.
I think my sister has it in some type of, it's in vodka or something, so that she's supposed
Oh
to.
yeah, a tincture.
A tincture.
Yeah.
So she's supposed to take it when she gets closer to menopause or something.
Oh, interesting.
That's what somebody told
Interesting.
her. Yeah.
I haven't heard that. But
she had a doula
cool.
and a midwife.
Yeah.
But I think her midwife doesn't work with the hospital either. So she couldn't come, so then the doula came and she was like, next time I'm just doing a midwife. But
gotcha.
If it's like not the first birth, but like a second birth, would you recommend the child be present? Any other children?
That's a good question. I leave that totally up to the parents because they know their kid.
Right.
Some kids, like my daughter is very interested in birth and I feel like she would really want to be there.
Yeah.
But some kids that would really maybe traumatize them,
right.
Just depending on how it goes. So I just leave it up to their discretion. I always suggest if you do have your kid there, have someone responsible for taking them away if they need to be taken away at any point.
Yeah. Because me, I'm like, I know my kid pretty well, but she still thinks like, we just found out a family member of ours is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh, I want to have a baby when I get older. She goes, but they're going to put a shot in my stomach. And I'm like, where did you even come up with that?
Who told you that?
Who told you that? And then she also thinks, how does she think it comes out? I think she thinks it comes out of your belly button, which is
That's
typical...
what I thought for a really long time.
until I went through my first one and I was like, wow.
Oh, wow. It's coming out.
So I think if she saw that, she's so curious about her anatomy anyway. I think she'd probably be like, we'd have to explain it to her beforehand. There's no way I would just let her like see that at a whim. But
right. I think it would take a lot of, I always recommend maybe show them some videos, talk to them about how mommy's going to be making different sounds and all that stuff.
And prepping them.
Yeah.
I do have Everly's dad. He's got a bunch of sisters and they had a bunch of deliveries and all the kids got to be present for the other. And I was like, oh, that's really
very
cool.
special.
That's really cool.
That's super special.
Let's see. I already did that. What's the youngest and oldest? We've already done that. How many births? Did you have anything where anyone didn't make it?
Not since I've been a midwife.
Okay.
When I was a student, I had someone walk into the clinic and I was first up for catching. She walked in and the baby's breech. The legs were already out.
Oh my God.
And I was thinking like, okay, let's just do this delivery. Let's, baby's already coming out. And my supervisor, she was like, no, we got to go. We got to transport. Because we weren't allowed to do breech at our clinic. So we transported. I went with her to the hospital and the baby was delivered in the waiting room. And the baby, at that point, like, I don't know when the baby passed, but the baby did not make it.
Yeah.
That's been my only
stuck in the canal.
But yeah, that sucked.
Now so what do you do for breech? Because that's most of my friends that have had cesareans, they're like, he never turned once. We had the doula doing the thing with the cloths and trying to, move everything around. And that baby, she goes so stubborn.
Yeah.
But what do you do? So
for breech, it's not legal in California for midwives to deliver breech at home. So what we do is, if it's determined the baby is breech, if it's, around 35 weeks or so or before, then there's a website called Spinning Babies, and it's different moves that you can do to help turn baby.
Yeah.
I did it with my baby. It worked. It was great. It works for a lot of people.
That's great. Spinning babies. That's great. Okay.
It's very cool. And they're not that hard. I mean, everything's a little hard when you're pregnant, but
right.
And then if that doesn't work, then there are OBs can try to. It's called an ECV, external cephalic version, where they turn baby from the outside. They keep an ultrasound on to see where baby is. They get you all lubed up, and then they try to manually turn baby.
Yeah. Does that hurt?
Super uncomfortable.
Oh, no.
It's not great.
Yeah, because they're not being gentle. Yeah, it's not like
and
a gentle massage.
You definitely not a massage. So, and not everyone is a candidate for that. It just depends on, where the cord is and, what's going on, where the placenta is. So, that's an option for a lot of people. And then if that doesn't work, then I try to transfer people to an OB who's going to try a vaginal birth.
Right.
That's the goal, is to still do it vaginally, because it's not a high risk situation.
Right.
If you have a skilled provider who knows how to, catch a breech baby.
Yeah. Do they just come out feet first?
Feet first or butt first, however they are. There's different.
Oh, butt first. Oh, God.
Butt first is actually better.
Is it?
It's better because they dilate the cervix wider so the head can fit through. If we have just the feet coming out, you could just be 6 centimeters and then the head can't come through. So butt first is better.
Oh my gosh.
It sounds bad.
That's so crazy. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, that's a concern. Midwives are trained for breech. So if we have a surprise breech, which is super uncommon, I'm going to knock on something here.
Yeah.
But if we have a surprise breech, we are trained to deliver. And so the protocol is just call 911 and then, handle the situation. If baby comes out fine, then we can just say bye to the firefighters and be on our way.
Great.
But yeah, that's a situation for breech.
That's so crazy. How do people, does insurance cover midwives? Or is that like a pay out of pocket like you would a doula, right? Because I don't think insurance covers doulas either.
Well, now they're starting to.
Oh, they are.
But not midwives, only doulas, which is such a bummer.
What?
It's so rude.
It's so rude.
Pay out a good amount. So
that's insane. You guys are the one with and no shade doulas. You're the ones with the medical experience.
Yeah, it's such a bummer, and women need access to this type of care.
And it's proven, by the way,
heart.
like what we said about earlier, and I forgot to reiterate this. The thing in Norway and New Zealand, if you look it up and you Google why do they have such a low mortality rate? It is because they have access to early care, strong care, and then the majority of it is midwives. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So of course our insurance companies don't cover it.
It breaks my heart that there are so many people who want a home birth, but they choose hospital birth because they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So, I've tried to figure out different ways to let's do extended payment plans or whatever. But yeah, so my clients, it's just, I'm not covered by any insurance.
What's the average, you don't have to give me your rates, but what's like a ballpark figure?
In Los Angeles, it's between 7,500 to 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywhere in there.
From for the whole thing?
For the whole package.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And it's, if you look at a hospital birth, the very lowest you're going to get is 31,000, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that they're gonna have a big old copay, even if their insurance does cover it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't do insurance, but I offer people a super bill at the end of care. I just type out everything that was done, what it cost, and then I give it to them. They can submit it to insurance. I've had people get 100% back.
Oh wow. Okay.
Which is great. There's just no guarantee. That's the big thing.
But. What's a flashlight birth?
A flashlight birth is when you use flashlight because the lights went out. So when I was in the Philippines, there would be brownouts all the time where just all the electricity would go out in the whole city. And so baby still got to come out. So we just all get our flashlights. We hold it wherever we can and we do the birth.
That's so crazy.
Fun
and
times.
you said in the email you've delivered with a woman standing up. What are some other crazy stories?
Every position. Yeah. There'll be... I've had toilet births. I've had a few births where it's in between tub and out of tub, where it's things have slowed down in the tub. Maybe it's time to get out and, change things up a little bit. We stand up, throws one leg over the tub, baby comes out with one leg in, one leg out.
Oh my gosh.
That's happened a few times.
Okay.
Shower babies. let's see, birth stool. Do you know what a birth stool is?
No.
So a birth stool is kind of like a C-shaped stool. It's like a stool with a little hole cut out for your butt.
Okay.
And you can kind of just sit back on it and the baby is able to come through, but it puts you in a good position where your knees are up, but you're sitting up.
Yeah.
So birth stool births, all kinds of births.
Oh my gosh, that's like everything. Okay, let's see. And then I also wanted to say one of the reasons it says the US has the worst is because the worst mortality rate is because of minorities and the way especially Black women are treated. I don't know if you
100%
find that in your practice, but I was like, it's like 50 out of 100,000 for Black women and only 14 for white women.
Right.
And you're like, and then there was a video that I just saw. It was like circulating a month again.
Yes.
The one in Dallas I think it's Dallas.
There were a couple back to back.
Okay, those are the ones I saw where it's a Black woman clearly in
so
active
clearly
labor and the nurse next to her is just
doesn't even look
typing,
at her.
doesn't even look at her.
And she has the baby like right after that.
Yeah, and she goes, then they leave and she has it 12 minutes later in the car and I'm like, that's why people are dying. Yeah. That's insane. And also sue the fuck out of them because the medical malpractice.
It's so unbelievable that you can just ignore. Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going through your mind? Like, I want to know what's going to that. Like, she's over exaggerating. Like, get out of here.
I feel like that's most of the problem is they're like, they're being dramatic.
Yeah. And even like out of all my OBs, I had one that was a guy and he was like, you need to stop eating fried foods. And I ate so clean. And when I say I ate so clean, I mean, instead of getting ice cream, I would get one of those little watermelons, cut it in half, scoop out the seeds. And then where the hole was, I'd put in blueberries. And that was my treat because I only wanted healthy food.
Dessert.
Yeah. This baby's completely different. This baby's like, let's go with sweets and fried foods. And it's getting really hard to fight. But with my first, all she wanted was healthy food. But I gained a lot of weight. And when he was like, I didn't even start showing till 5 months. So between 5 months and like 8 months, I gained 40 pounds. It was a lot. And he goes, you need to stop eating fried foods. And I was like, I don't eat fried
I'm
foods.
literally not.
I'm
How are you
not.
just assuming that?
There's that. And then, but for the most part, it was actually the female OBGYNs that were like, oh my God, when they swept my membrane, like just not gentle, like there was no like care to it.
I have found the same thing.
Yeah.
It's very odd because they're like, you can deal with it. Like maybe they have some trauma in their past that they were able to handle.
And so now
It's like,
that's where they come through. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's very interesting.
Let's see. How do you identify if there's an infection? Because that might take a while to identify that, right?
Yeah. I mean, usually it's going to start with baby's heart rate going up because everything internal is going to be hotter than once you start noticing a temperature. So if baby's heart rate is up, or if you're doing a vaginal exam and it feels hot in there, I know that sounds weird, but like you can tell, then that's a sign for sure.
Crazy.
And then if mom's heart rate starts going up, if mom's getting a temperature, then those are.
What do you do for that if it's an infection?
If there's an infection, that would be a transfer to the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't mess around.
Yeah, that's so. And that would just be like internal bleeding.
It depends on when it is. Yeah. Usually an infection is going to be after the water's been broken for many, 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 many hours.
Okay.
And
do you stand by that you should deliver within 24 hours of the water being broken?
It depends. I'll give it to 36 if everyone's doing well. And if things have stayed really clean and we're not, concerned. And if it seems like baby's doing really well. But what was I saying?
Oh, the infection. Oh, like what do you, yeah.
Yeah, usually that's going to be, most infections are postpartum.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And there's nothing you can do for preeclampsia, right? My girlfriend had postpartum preeclampsia. And they had to give, what did they give you? Like magnesium. So like paralyzes your whole body or something. But the nurse was like, you need this. You're going to have to do it.
I mean, yeah, especially with postpartum, because the cure for preeclampsia when you're still pregnant is delivering the baby. But for postpartum preeclampsia, you've already delivered the baby. So it's really just kind of like a freak situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So the cure is to deliver the baby.
Yeah.
If you have it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
For preeclampsia, there's still a lot of study being done on preeclampsia and ways to help prevent it. One thing though that the last several years people have been doing is taking baby aspirin, 81 milligrams from their second trimester. And that has reduced it by a good bit from what they've seen.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you would
so
support that?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of taking medications
Right.
like just in case, but that is one that has been proven to really, really help.
Great.
Yeah. I did it in my own pregnancy because my mom had preeclampsia, my sister had preeclampsia.
Oh,
I'm
do
like,
it.
not me.
Yeah,
So,
do it.
definitely
Okay.
did it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And then you didn't have it.
I did not.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What do you offer as far as postpartum care?
Postpartum care, I offer 4 postpartum visits, and those are for both mom and baby. So I'm going to come back between 24.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
Because
right.
we're like, come back in 6 weeks.
Come back in 6 weeks and we'll tell you you're ready to have sex.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it is. It's like, what are you talking about?
And there's like
and also
so
all my
much
issues
change
were like, yeah.
Before 6 weeks, you're a whole different person by 6 weeks.
Right.
And you're not even really there.
And even the baby, like, I'm like, could you just check on? I mean, the baby gets seen right away, right?
The baby is the
within 2
priority.
days.
They're like, forget about you.
Yeah. And I'm like, you did all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, literally all of it.
Go ahead.
So so the first visit is between 24 to 48 hours. So I come back the next day. We do newborn screening if you want to do newborn screening. And we kind of go over, how was yesterday? Do you need to process anything? Do you have questions about what happened? Because, usually
what
after.
What a gift.
Yeah. After like a night of sleep, you're like, wait, what was going on at this point? Like, what was that? Or, which during the birth, I try to explain everything, but you may not really be fully there.
Right.
So the next day I kind of offer a space to ask some questions and kind of debrief all of that. And then, of course, we're checking on baby, we're checking on bleeding, we're checking on everything going on, making sure everyone is happy, making sure you've had some food and some sleep and you're doing okay.
Yeah. That's so interesting because I remember with the 2 women that pulled her out, I remember being like, God, I wish I could ask them some questions.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, well, what happened there?
They're the ones who know what happened.
And I don't remember. And then it was Corey who was telling me that she recognized the hemorrhage. And I was like, I don't even remember that happening. And so I would have loved to have had that aftercare to go over it,
Totally.
Just mentally.
Yeah.
And then how long because I know you said 4 sessions.
Yes.
How long does that
up to 6 weeks.
Up to 6 weeks.
So I do a first day, a 1 week, a 3 week, and a 6 week visit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you ever stay with these people? Because you have your own family. You don't stay with these people, do you?
No.
Okay.
I do all home visits. I go hang out with them and then I come back home.
Okay, great. Do you feel that it's okay to have more people involved in the process or more family members, or is it too many cooks in the kitchen in your experience?
It totally depends. Some moms really need a village vibe when they're laboring, and a lot of moms are like, no, please get everyone out of here.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people don't know until they're in labor. So we talk about it a lot prenatally, who do you want to be there? And also, if you want a few people there or a lot of people there, have a conversation with them about, at any point, if I want everyone to leave, you have to leave. And you can't get offended.
Right.
Because that's just birth.
Yeah.
And also, just kind of talking about everyone who's there, kind of like we were talking about, should have a role. They should be there for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's not just looky-loos who want to see what's going on.
I love that everybody should have a role.
Yes. And also, they should be people that you feel comfortable being rabid around. You should be comfortable being naked around all of these people and being able to fully release, because a huge part of labor is mental. Yeah. If you're feeling tense and kind of closed up because there's just someone in the room that's not vibing with you, your cervix is not going to open. Right. That's just how it works.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Now, if you did have to go to the ER, do you find, if you've gone to the ER, do you find that they hold it against the mom that they have a midwife?
Yes. Not every single time.
That was my mom's question, by the way.
Not every single time. There are some really, really great nurses and doctors that are just like, cool, the midwife is here. Come on, let's just, we're just doing a little detour at the hospital. Then you go back to your midwife's care. But absolutely, there are going to be people who are throwing shade over.
I mean, they gave my sister's doula so much shade. And I'm like, what are we doing? It's just extra support.
Yeah. It's really unfair.
Yeah. And I'm also like, if you look at the numbers and the stats, we're not crushing it here.
We're not doing great.
We're not doing great.
We're really not doing great. We don't have any room to throw shade.
how important do you think maternity, in like your experience, maternity leave is? Because obviously in the US, we get like 6 weeks if you get 6 weeks. That's if you get 6 weeks. And then in
Horrible.
other countries that you've delivered, probably like 6 months or something.
It's insane. Yeah. Like, I mean, and I'm sure you have your own personal experience with this, but like having to think about going back to work when you have a newborn and also when you yourself are just a completely changed person. You've just gone through this whole thing that no one can possibly understand, and you're expected to just like get back into work mode in your brain and like
Right.
snap back into normal. Like, and how are you supposed to like I didn't even start pumping at all until like a little here and there at 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like you're supposed to have a full supply in the freezer by 6 weeks. That's impossible.
Insane.
And then you're going to trust someone to be with your tiny newborn baby that's
Yeah.
fresh out of the womb. It is heartbreaking to think of having to go back to
Terrible.
a 9 to 5 separated from a piece of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so lucky. My husband got to hold an 8-week-old baby. And it was so great because I go, I'd be back to work by now. And he was just like, there's no way we're going to figure it out. There's no way you're doing that.
There's just
It's
no
just like,
way.
what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm lucky because I got to just bring my baby with me when I would work.
Oh, yeah.
Because people don't care.
Yeah.
But that is not the case for most people.
Yeah.
In this country. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 9 to 5s. I don't know.
No.
Are you protected, like legally, if something bad happens?
Yeah. So most midwives have malpractice insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious
Yeah.
because there is a movie which I talked about earlier called Pieces of a Woman with
Mhm.
Vanessa Kirby, and like it's a midwife and she delivers the baby's fine for a minute, and then something goes wrong with the baby.
Yeah.
The baby doesn't make it, and it's a very brutal scene to watch, but then it goes into like her whole family wants to sue the midwife, but she's going through the trauma of it, and then at the end she's like, she didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean? This would have happened in a hospital the way it happened,
Right.
but it took a lot of her processing what
Yeah.
happened, because then she
Totally,
didn't
'cause you
have
want to
the
blame someone.
Absolutely.
It's such a traumatizing
and
thing.
and so it was interesting. I was like, oh, how is that person protected? Because your goal is to be this. And she was so loving and so helpful
Yeah.
and so well educated.
Yeah.
And like she knew before they knew that something was wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to have that, and like you want to destroy this person. And so like I was always fascinated with, I was like, do they have their own protection? So I'm glad that they do. Okay, so do you, I mean, I know you probably leave it up to the women, but do you recommend water birth versus non-water birth?
I don't really have, I provide a tub for everyone. I drop it off at 36 weeks, and I give them a little air pump so they can blow it up whenever they want. And I, just kind of leave it up to them. If they're, like I said, at a point in labor where they're like, I can't do this isn't working anymore, then I'll suggest, hey, do you want to hop in the tub?
Right.
And everyone says yes, because it's the best.
Yeah.
But then a lot of, sometimes people will be in the water and, maybe they start feeling like they need a push and it's just not really working. And they're like, I want to try something else. So I'm like, cool, let's get out and let's do it. Let's do a land birth instead of a water birth.
I love that you call it a land birth. I love it.
So that happens plenty of times. That happened to me. I was in the water and I loved it. So I was in there for over an hour and I was just vibing, and like my contractions were spacing out. So I got to like fall asleep between a contraction, like wake back up for it. And then like I looked over at my midwife at one point. I was like, I should probably get out, shouldn't I? She was like, yeah,
it's time to go.
It's not working.
That's
so yeah,
funny.
and then I had a land birth and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do you choose, what's the difference in education for a hospital midwife and a non-hospital midwife?
A hospital midwife gets a nursing degree first, and then they get a midwife degree.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And is there, because I think we talked about this personally, where you're like, I would prefer to do it the way you're doing it. Is there a reason why?
A reason why I prefer doing it at home rather than hospital. Yeah. I mean, once you're in the hospital, you get caught up in like, well, hospital protocol says that we need to induce you by this date, or we need to start meds now, or we need to have an IV going just because, there's all these things where you have to follow protocol. even if that's not necessarily indicated for that particular patient.
Right.
Whereas in home birth, you can kind of go by, I think this would work good for you personally, rather than having to follow hospital protocol.
Okay, so like you said earlier, this is from Mama Natural.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Oh, good. I found a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And she goes, when I first found out I was pregnant, I wanted an unmedicated birth. A few weeks later, I met up with some of my oldest girlfriends. They all happened to be moms already, so I asked them to tell me their birth stories. As each one shared, I noticed a shocking yet common theme. They all had a cascade of interventions. Here's how it goes. And this is how it went for me too. So they went overdue, normal for first-time moms, by the way. They got induced, even though the body wasn't ready. Then they got drugs to get contractions going because their body wasn't ready. The contractions were incredibly painful because they were artificially started.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got more drugs to address the pain, which the epidural probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which slowed down the labor. So they kept dialing things up or down to manage labor, this is exactly what you said. So when you were talking, I was like, I have this on my phone.
But that just shows how insanely common this is.
It's
and then
so
you're saying
common.
This is my story too.
And then you also said this. Finally, they had an emergency C-section to get the baby out. All 5 of my friends said they wanted to have a vaginal birth, yet only one of them did. This was so shocking to me. That is wild. And then you use that with the backdrop of the statistics. Because I know some people are watching this and they're like, this is too woo-woo or whatever. But it's like, if you look at the stats, the reason that they're so successful in New Zealand and Norway and Sweden and Switzerland and all of those places is because they have midwives.
Right.
And they have a supportive system.
The overall C-section rate in the US is around 30%.
Insane.
And my C-section rate is about 5.5.
Really?
That just shows like these are happening.
That's crazy.
Probably unnecessarily.
Yeah. And then if you guys have not watched The Business of Being Born,
watch it.
Watch it.
Watch it.
Watch it, but then also don't do what I do. Get a doula. Just keep looking until you find one and get a midwife, because like that's the one thing I wish, because I did have my mom, my best friend, and Everly's dad in the room.
Mm-hmm.
My best friend had never given birth. Craig didn't know what he was doing. He was going in blind. And my mom hadn't delivered in 35 years.
Also, you're her baby. It's just a different dynamic.
It's a totally different.
Yeah.
And so like you want somebody that has the experience that can support you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be blowing up your phone through this whole pregnancy.
Great.
So
Great. I'm here for it.
But I thought when you were saying that, I was like, it's literally verbatim what you were talking
Isn't
about.
that crazy?
And that's so true for so many of my friends too.
Yeah.
Like that's how it happened.
Totally.
And it didn't have to happen that way, which is so crazy.
I know. I hear these birth stories, when I'm in circles of women and people are telling their birth stories, and I just have to keep my mouth shut because I'm just like, that didn't have to happen. That's
I know,
so
because I
sad.
feel like I trauma dumped on you at the Groansy thing real quick. I only told you real quick, and then you were like, you could see you getting upset because you were like,
mad.
oh, I would have said something to the doctors, like I would have, and it's just like, yeah, because you need somebody.
Yeah, and I never want to be like, I never want to make someone look back on their birth when they were happy with it and be like, oh, maybe this wasn't so good.
Right.
So I just try to like,
yeah,
but. Yeah, man, it really gets to me.
That's okay. I'm so glad that you do this. Is there anything else you want to share?
Gosh, I feel like we covered so much.
I know. We had so many questions come in. It was crazy.
Yeah, I know. It makes me so happy that people had these questions. And
there wasn't any. I was afraid that there'd be somebody that's like, oh, you don't do because we always get this. I got none of those.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so honored.
Isn't that great?
I love that.
But I think people are also
curious,
really aware of our healthcare system right now.
True.
I think that's at the forefront and like
100%.
Everything that's happening. And so with that,
it's scary.
They're more likely to listen to, oh, why is it working so well in other countries?
Right. Like maybe let's think about that.
Yeah. If we have so much money in this country and we're the greatest country on earth, why is it so bad? Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And how can people follow you? Because you're in the Los Angeles area.
Yes, I'm in Eagle Rock, so I'm over near Pasadena, Glendale area. But I go all over Los Angeles to see clients.
Great.
So I'm on Instagram at Bekah DuChateau. That's BekahDuChateau. I have to spell both names. It's terrible.
It's a very, well, that's what I was like, please, I got to make sure I say your name right. But when we were at the Groansy thing.
That wasn't my Instagram name. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. Say it again.
Yeah, let's
You're
do
good.
it. So I'm on Instagram at DuChateau Midwifery. So that's DuChateau Midwifery.
Yeah, it's great. And so if people want to contact you, they just reach out to you there?
Absolutely. Or my website is DuChateauMidwifery.com.
Perfect. Perfect. I wish I had you the first time. I wish I had you this
I
time, but I live out of state.
I wish I had you.
I know. It would have been so great.
You're going out of state.
Yeah. Well, I live in Kansas City.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm just back to do the podcast.
Just for funsies.
Yeah, just for funsies. I mean, if something happens here or my water breaks early next time I'm here in May,
keep me posted.
I'm calling you up.
Keep me posted.
Get that
Maybe
that
I'll
tub
put you
ready.
on emergency bypass.
Yeah, there you go. Get that tub ready. Thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun.
Good. Okay. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, you guys know you can message me directly at The Funny Thing Is Podcast. You can follow me at Nicole Birch Comedy on all socials, or you can look at my website for all merch and tour dates, which is www.nicolecomedy.com. And we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.